90 minutes of robust engagement here on ENCA last night. Dr. J.J. Tabane's interview with former Chief Justice Mogoeng. Mogoeng has been praised and condemned, but one thing's for sure, it's got us all talking. J.J. joins me in studio now. You certainly know how to set the cat among the pigeons. You're all over social media. Some people praising you, some people criticizing you, some people praising Mogoeng, and some people criticizing him. He's known for fairly controversial views on the vaccines and very outspoken about his faith, and he's already been chastised around what he said about Israel. What you were thinking you'd get out of the interview and what you got out of the interview, was it pretty much what you were expecting?
No, you never know what you expect on Path to Truth. You must always go there humble, you know. It was not a run-of-the-mill day at the office. Actually, I called him to celebrate him. He's been at the helm of our judiciary for 10 years, solid 10 years, and he did some quite remarkable things during his tenure. But this whole thing about his faith and so on, in fact, I agree with him. I don't think if you have a faith, you must pack it at home and then go to work and do the opposite of your faith. So in fact, I had a full-on rant last year or the year before last when this thing it came up and some journalists saying, oh, why is he praying in parliament? I said, to hell with that, right? So in fact, I got a lot of time for him. But he seems to have come to war because in the time that he's been quiet, the media had him for breakfast and lunch, leading him to be chastised by the JSC and made to apologize. So he came there to really was very angry with the media. He kept on saying, you people. My brother was saying to me, if he had said you people to him for the third time, he would have lost it. But I kept my calm to say, some of the stuff that he says about the media are actually true. Because, for example, he says, you guys bring the same people to comment on all the time. And I think that generally we can't argue with that. But when he says, then you tell them how to think, that there I disagree with him. That's patently false. There may be people that you already know, maybe that may go a certain way, but they will be offended if they were to be believed that they are told how to think and so on. Certainly at Path to Truth we don't. We bring people from the extreme of a Carl Niehaus to an extreme of an Andilem Tikama. So I don't mind a controversy. But big takeaway was the vaccine thing. I actually spent 2 segments. 2 segments, almost half an hour on the vaccine thing, because I was quite astonished. I knew that he had these ideas about vaccines, but I didn't think it was so extreme as for him to say this thing is killing people. And so it was a little bit on the extreme side. Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I want to play a little clip on what he said about vaccines. Take a listen.
This stigmatization of people who ask questions about vaccination must come to an end. 2, you people in the media must raise concerns about why some clips that do not align with the vaccination agenda disappear like this. Why isn't there a free flow of information? Why don't you bring people from 2 sides of the story to talk about the support for vaccination and the opposition to vaccination? And also, are these vaccines, by the way, past the trial stage? Because I think I once heard the Minister of Health saying, they are at trial stage. Are they still at trial stage or past trial stage? So are you saying you are skeptical of, if you like, the forced consensus around vaccination? The Section 12(2)(c) of the Constitution is against forcing people to be vaccinated. Since when have people been forced to be vaccinated, by the way? Even when HIV and AIDS was raging, we were not forced to do anything. What is this about forcing people to be vaccinated? And 2, if 50% of the workforce is vaccinated, they must be protected, right? Why is an employee who is not vaccinated dangerous to those that are already protected? The whole thing doesn't make sense, and you people don't question it. If you are double vaccinated, why is it dangerous for you to be in contact with a person who is not vaccinated? You are protected. You are in a bulletproof vehicle. What is your problem? So if the country were to listen to you, you would say it must be a choice. Of course it must be a choice. Not that vaccination itself doesn't work. Because I just want to... I don't know if it works.
I don't know if it works. So here's the thing. On the one hand, you can say, well, yes, let's hear both sides of the story. But then The issue is that on the one side, we've got science. We've got an enormous amount of data.
Yeah. And he dismissed that because I was saying to him, there is actually a ministerial advisory committee of these scientists you're talking about. Right? Secondly, I think it was an exaggeration to say we've never heard both sides of the story. At the beginning of every pandemic, not just this one, right? Scientists put their heads together. There will be extreme scientists. There will be those who are on the middle. There will be those on the extreme. But at some point, a World Health Organization, which is a family of nations, must say this is the way to go to defeat this pandemic. Remember the HIV story. Do you know how long we discussed whether HIV causes AIDS?
And what did that cost us?
300,000 lives later. Only then we said, oh, let's just get ARVs. Now, I don't think anybody wants us to go back there, right? Vaccination, unfortunately, at this point, it's the most sensible thing that's on the table.
And it works. The data shows us.
There is opposite views. I don't know what he's talking about that when these debates haven't happened. We have, throughout all these news channels, there are people who are skeptical.
I think it's about bringing on doctors who might not necessarily be epidemiologists, but who have an opinion.
Haven't you brought them on your show?
No, because for me, it's an issue around false equivalency. So for me, you know, if someone has if they're two competing views, but they're of equal standing, fair enough. But if we know that a lot of the views of another group are not proven, there is no proof. Why should we give them a platform? And I know it's a big debate in journalism, but from a public health perspective, why should we give them a platform? So
all I'm saying is, and I may disagree with you slightly, all I'm saying is there's a point in a pandemic where you are debating. At that point, where there was no finality, there was a time where there was no vaccine. Scientists were still debating, should we go this way, should we go Sisonke, should we go, AstraZeneca, whatever else, right? At that point, it would be unfair to simply go with one view, right? That is still itself being tested.
And also, the science was being discovered in real time. So, you know, and we are actually
But all I'm saying is once WHO has made a decision as to say this is where the world is going, right? That's where we now need to all rally. And people like him with influence would have to rally people to say, save lives this way.
Correct.
Because sometimes people who are clever in their minds, right, sometimes lose the bigger picture. Remember Mbeki?
The Thabo Mbeki phenomenon. Would you put it in the same category?
Reading on the internet, reading many books, talking to scientists, right? Fiddling while Rome was burning. That's literally what it is.
But it's interesting because there is a group of people who are distrustful of government, and we can understand why. That's a global phenomenon.